Good morning, and thank you for joining Barbershop Talk, hosted by our brother Craig Cook-Sullivan and our special guest speakers Michael Tatmon and Aidan Hamilton. Barbershop Talk is part of the Brothas Building Brothas series created by the Good Life program and brought to you by UC Davis and the City of Oakland. All right, everyone, before we get started, let's review some helpful tips. Number one, you'll see a small icon at the bottom of your screen that says chat. You'll also see a sidebar on the right hand side when you click on the icon, and at the bottom of the sidebar, you can type in any comments or questions you may have, and we'll have a chat monitor to respond at all times. Number two, if you click on the icon at the bottom of your screen that says participants, you can see everyone's name that has joined us today. This is a friendly reminder that this Zoom class will be recorded, so please take the time to change your Zoom name if you wish to be identified differently. You can do this by clicking on the participants icon on your screen, and then you'll see a sidebar on the right hand side when you click on the icon. And when you see your name, you can hover your mouse over your name and click rename, then type in how you like to be referred to. Number three, lastly, let's remember that this is Zoom. It is not perfect, so your sound or internet might cut out, but we're still here. So if you experience any technical issues accessing our class, please email us at info@thegoodlifepath.org, or you can give us a call at 510-306-2584. That's 510-306-2584. Brothas Building Brothas is a group of men interested in creating a safe space to promote personal growth and advocate for black men's mental health awareness. We're committed to building a space for you to come together with other men who have experienced similar life events. We are not trained therapists, and we cannot provide you with expert advice about your specific legal, work, or family situations. However, we can provide you with thoughtful opinions based on our personal experiences. This space is sacred, and we expect our conversations to remain private. We ask that you speak respectfully towards one another and not tell group stories outside of our sacred space. We will provide some resources for your self help, but everything we do is as is. We are not doctors, and this is not a formal mental health guidance. Lastly, if you enjoyed today's conversation and wish to be a part of the Brotherhood here at the Barbershop, please support us by clicking on the link in the chat to get your free Zoom invitation and reminder to our next session. All right.
Is a big thing, especially with men, because we go through a lot of ups and downs. But we're talking about from an athlete to a civilian or whatever else you may be, because your aspirations at becoming that professional sports guy didn't work out. So this week we're talking about transitions, and we have two of our very own special guys. Brother Aidan, he is the social media guy of us. He gets on my line when I don't have my promos and stuff together. So he's the brilliant guy behind that. And then we also have Mike. He's our fitness guy. And both of those dudes, come from a athletical type background, like most of you, who played sports, Pop Warner or high school or even college. If you had aspirations of getting there, that's what those guys did. So we're going to talk about how it impacts us psychologically and physically, how it taps into our day-to-day life and our future and our decision-making moving forward. But more importantly, our psychological transition, because when all you know is what you've been doing, from your parents taking you to practice from 6, 7, 8 years old to Pop Warner to high school, to maybe a scholarship or maybe some college, some JUCO, and you go to these places and you still have these desires. And in the middle of those desires, you still have these moments of life where you still have to survive. You have to live. You may not have all the accolades that some of your teammates may have. Sometimes it's about who you know, right? It's not always about your physical ability. I've had some buddies that, had to make life-changing decisions while they were aspiring to be a pro athlete. Some became parents that changed their direction. Some lost family members or had to take care of the household. That's a dream deferred. Some, took to other survivalistic skills and had to hustle or make decisions for money. Another dream deferred. So, all these transitions, in life, I really wanted to hone it in from my athletes, because, a lot of times we feel that's the only ticket out of the hood is to be the best football player, be the best basketball player, And within that, it's a lot of life-changing moments that we have to navigate through. So that's pretty much what we're talking about. So I want to give the floor to my young guy, Aidan. He's also a new parent, new dad, y'all. I want to congratulate him. He's going to go through things that we already been through, most of us. Also, before I go there, how many of y'all knew that yesterday was National Black Men's Day? I got a text from my guy yesterday, and Brother Jacobs, and I had no idea about that. So I put it on Facebook and I mentioned it to a few people, and folks looked it up and was like, "Man, yeah, it's really real." So I just said that just to give us another reason to celebrate yourself. But nevertheless, I want to give the floor to my guy Aidan, man. Let's talk about you and your transition and stuff like that.
Well, good morning, brothers.
Good morning.
Appreciate y'all for having me. I just graduated probably 2 years ago. I just finished playing football 2 years ago. So this is all still fresh for me. I'm still in a transition period. So yeah, this is my story. So when I was 19, I went to Riordan in San Francisco. I graduated from Riordan, if any of y'all know that.
That's what's up right there. There you go.
Class of 2016. But when I was 19, I moved out of my parents' house because out of survival, I was in trouble. I was getting in a lot of trouble with my family and my parents, and they wasn't respecting the way I was living. And I understand that I was out of survival. I was doing things out of survival. I moved to LA to chase a junior college dream. And I quickly realized that without my family's support, without anybody's support, I had to rely on myself. And again, I was doing things out of survival. And I had to actually quit football for a year. And at that point in time, I was like, I'm just gonna figure out life and live without sports. And at that time I was homeless. I was living on the floor. I was living on not outside, but luckily I had friends in LA that would let me crash at their house. And these are college students, and I lived in dorm rooms and at places where I didn't even go to school. At the same time, I'm still trying to survive and finish my junior college career. But I realized that as an athlete, we're required a certain level of commitment and dedication and a certain amount of skills that were taught to me, like leadership, teamwork, discipline, and time management stuff, all were applicable into real life. And it's easier said than done. You can always be like, yeah, I can apply this to life easily, but it's easier said than done in respects to each of our situations. But luckily, after that year, I ended up getting a scholarship out of nowhere. It was just a random call. Someone was still looking for a wide receiver in Oregon. So I ended up coming out to Oregon, playing out here. I played D3 ball, got a good education, and I finished. Because I got injured. I had a concussion in my senior year. It was my last game ever.
Wow.
It was the last game of the season, and got a concussion, and I told myself I'll never do that again. I'll never have a concussion again. I value my body over the game, and at that time I was done. But at this time I was probably already 25, and I was back at that same place when I graduated. It felt like when I was 19, when I first moved out of my house and I was getting in trouble. This time I did it without the trouble, but when I graduated, I had to look at those same skills that I learned: the leadership, the teamwork, the discipline, and the time management. And I wanted to figure out how I can turn the hustle that I had for sports into something else. Because because I feel like I said, it's easier said than done, but I feel like that's the biggest challenge of figuring out how to transfer your hustle that you've known all your life into something else. Maybe it's the career, maybe it's your entrepreneurship, maybe it's whatever your heart desires. But yeah, I feel like for me, that was my biggest challenge. Everything happened so fast. Like he said, like Craig said, I just had a baby, and I just graduated 2 years ago, and I just got a job, and I've been working with The Good Life for about a year now. And yeah, I guess, like I said, my biggest challenge was trying to apply all of those skills that I've learned through sports into how to be a dad, or how to get a job, or how to interact with people in workplaces or even in society. But yeah, that's my story. I'm here now. I live in Oregon. I'm from San Francisco, but yeah.
That's interesting, Aidan, that you've made that your residence now. See, that's a whole nother transition. Like, okay, you from San Francisco, you from the big city, used to a certain kind of lifestyle, used to what the momentum San Francisco brings, and then you left. You let your athleticism led you to another state, to another place, for a different opportunity, and it's your home right now. So, how do you feel about that? Do you ever want to come back to the city, or have you found a space that's good for you? Because, it's a certain pace out here that we try to live and keep up to. And a lot of times, folks struggle trying to keep up the pace. And sometimes moving away is good, to find your own lane and figure out, what.
Why they can fucking step on the football field? I hear all y'all talking. Steph was a motherfucker. And that's
One transition. So my son is out at UNLV, right? So it's a lot of politics. He went there with the ambition to play hoops, but so it's a lot of politics, and we still ain't giving up. But, degree, so that's all that matters.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. Man.
It's all love, man. I want to thank y'all. We finna shut it down, man. I'll meet y'all back here next week.
I love all y'all, man.
One
love
love.
all y'all.
Coming.
Blindside,
Carl,
bust your
what's
ass
up,
later
Carl?
on, Blindside.
Yeah, I'll
Peace
be there
and
at 2
blessings,
o'clock.
y'all.